Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Let's get back into it. We're going to do another how we shot it video. So this is going to be because Scott Men 7 requested it. He said that silhouette in the sun reflection on the ocean is amazing. Bravo. A short on how you got that shot would be awesome. I'm not going to do a short. I'll do a full video because it'll take a little more thought process, and I'm also going to give you guys a little bit extra on top of that. I'll make shorts, obviously, but nice full video. This is the shot that he's talking about right here. This is the edited version already, so you can see it's from the original to the final one. I mean, it doesn't look a heck of a lot different. So that's the difference between the original and the final one. Really, all I did with the final one was just kind of bring the highlights down a little bit, add a little bit of color. I also used Vivid right here, which is something that I normally shoot, I guess. I shoot in portrait or standard, which is a little bit more flat, you see? So when I put it in Vivid, it just looks a little bit more punchy. Now, with the Sony a7 IV, this is something that is recent within the last 2 or 3 weeks. Before that, you couldn't change it. It was just on beta. So now you're able to change it. But as far as the way we shot it, as far as the thought process, I saw that the lighting on the water was still ridiculously harsh just because we got there a little bit earlier than I was expecting. So instead of fighting it, I decided let me lean into it. At first, we started shooting in a different area where I could control, the background a little bit more, using darker backgrounds in order to make my subject pop. Like, that was the idea. We did use a little bit of off-camera lighting just to make them stand out. This is a shot without off-camera lighting, so you can kind of see the difference. There's no right or wrong, in my opinion. There's merit to both of them, but, we like giving them options. So in any case, let's get into the exact shot that we're here for. While I was shooting, I noticed that it was very bright, so I know if it's very bright in the background, obviously I can create a silhouette out of that. So what I ended up doing is I ended up positioning them. Now, let me show you some of the outtakes so you can see. At first, I was framing it something like this. So when I first framed it like this, I didn't really like it because I felt like there were two subjects and one was fighting the other. So in any photo, you're always going to look at the brightest area in the frame. So even though this is a cool silhouette, with this in the way, it just kind of looks a little like your attention automatically gets pulled away to this. So instead of that, one thing you could do is maybe shoot it in vertical. I scoot it over. I'm transferring a bunch of files. That's when my computer's lagging. But if you did it like this, now the attention isn't being pulled away. It is still a little bit brighter right in this little corner. But because of that, what I ended up doing, let me reset that. But because of that, what I ended up doing is I just, yelled at them, Isaias, Christina, let me have you guys scoot over to your left. I'll let you know when to stop. Same pose, just move over to the left. So I had them move until they reached this little area where they were centered with the highlights. So that way, even though this still pulls your attention away a tiny bit, you still, the main storytelling element is a silhouette of them. So I framed it like this, and then I did a few other different crops. The numbers, because at the end of the day, guys, like if you ask me my numbers, I'll tell you what they are, because me telling you them, you still need to be in that situation with that same lighting, with that same background, with it. You see what I'm saying? Like everything has to line up perfectly. So when people are like, I'm not going to tell you my number, I don't give a damn. Like, I'll tell you exactly what we shot it at, and get out there, have fun, and, recreate it if you can. You just have to make sure that the elements match up to what we were shooting too. So with that being said, we were at ISO 100 because on the A7 IV, ISO 100 is the native ISO. It's going to give you the most data. So if I wanted to push it, pull it, whatever, I have that latitude. And I was at 69 non-intentional millimeters and f4.5 and 1/8,000th of a second. So the reason I could have been at 2.8, although I don't like doing that, because when you shoot into a very bright background, if you're at your lowest f-stop and then you push it, it starts to get fuzzy around them. So regardless of whether, I couldn't go any higher or not, I probably would have raised the f-stop anyway, just so it's a little bit sharper around them. I probably could have raised it a little bit more. And now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have, because if I would have, it would have given us a cool star from the sun, which is a shot that I'm showing you guys as an example right now. The way that you achieve that star is by shooting at like f11 and higher, f16, f22 if you can. So I probably should have done that. It would have looked a little cooler. Like, for example, here I was shooting at f18, and you know what? In this case, it didn't. Okay, so I take it back. In this case, it didn't, and I'll tell you why. Because it was a little hazy that afternoon. It still has Damn, that was bright. Okay, it still has a little bit of that star kind of look, but it's not as pronounced. Like, maybe I'll re-edit this one. Or, well, I don't know. I don't want to kill the highlights too much, but maybe I will pull it down when I deliver it to them. And I'll clean up some of the dust. But if you shoot at a higher f-stop, you get a little bit more of that star look. If you shoot at a lower f-stop, it looks more like a blob. So you see it right there. I don't know. It's, again, guys, photography is whatever you want it to look like. Yes, there is some right and wrong, but in the end, it's still an artistic form. Like, you still want to have your own style. So I could have shot it at f/22. I could have shot it at f/4.5 like I did. You know, you can kind of make the choice whatever you want it to be. And what I'm doing realistically in this shot, to kind of summarize it all, is I'm just exposing, when you're doing silhouettes, I'm just exposing for the background. I'm exposing for the background, and then whatever's in the foreground is going to be very dark. That's what we use off-camera lighting if we want that dynamic look. So to break it down in like a very simple formula, if we wanted them to pop out of the scene like we did in this one, all we would have to do is introduce a little bit of flash on them. Our assistant was actually standing pretty close to here, and I just photoshopped them out. But that's essentially if you want them to stand out, or if you want a silhouette, you want the background to be brighter than them. For example, a silhouette would not have worked here because the background is just as dark as them. So the background and them, they would have just been completely dark. So the silhouette is only going to work if the background is brighter than they are. I know it sounds obvious, but if you're starting photography, you don't understand, okay, when can I create silhouettes? You can't create them all the time. These elements have to line up. And one thing I always do is I give different crops. So once I have the shot that I like, I kind of bounce around a little bit and give them different variations. And then in post, I'll decide, which ones. Usually I'll deliver a few of them just to kind of let them have a few options. But that was the thought process, guys. Those were the numbers. That was the situation that we were in. And yeah, let me know if these videos are helpful to you guys. Let me know what you think about them. Just like Scott commented, if you guys have any photos that you want me to break down when I post videos, just let me know and I'll be happy to do another one of these videos. All right, I hope you guys have a great week. Let's get out there and kill it. It seems like it's going to get, I know for us, it's going to get busy again this weekend. We have a few weddings, so we'll be posting some more behind the scenes of those. We'll be posting some more behind the scenes of other things. I'm going to edit, I think, a headshot session upload after this, or another gear review video. I don't know. Stay tuned, and if you want to subscribe to the channel, go right ahead if you enjoy what we post. All right, guys, have a great day.